I do want to talk about CM Punk because there have been two opinion pieces by people who I like and respect. One of them, Josh Nason on the F4W website, and one by Brandon Thurston on the Post Wrestling website. Brandon's was like purposely ironic and actually quite funny.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm completely okay with what they wrote. I think when you have the ability to be smart about this stuff and you can put your stuff out there, I think it's very good thing to do, especially when you're covering a business. I just think we are trying to dunk on the wrong thing or the wrong person. And let me get this out of the way. I'm in no way a CM Punk apologist. I have seen this dude pretty much be a dick everywhere he's been. And look, this is not Phil Brooks, the human. This is CM Punk, the character and the media persona that he wants us to see. Going back to his early days in, I guess he would have been in OVW before he came to ECW and WWE, right?
I think so. Yeah.
And previously in ROH, you would hear.
Yeah, and he was in TNA too for a little while.
So all of the, very sort of, I don't know if selfish is the right word, but very much looking out for himself and not trusting anyone kind of persona. Mm-hmm. And then in WWE, he's kind of overlooked and he's kind of got to fight from underneath and make these people aware that he is talented. And, it is the land of the monsters in there. And you can imagine, dealing with Triple H back then when you're CM Punk. I'm sure that changed his mentality and kind of hardened him to certain things, just the politics and the ecosystem back there. So he goes to, after he leaves WWE, which is maybe the most sympathy he'd ever gotten. He was the person who was kind of wronged, fired on his wedding, had this issue with the doctor, and he's actually really sick, and he does the podcast with Colt Cabana, and he kind of goes after WWE. It's like, wow, like this dude, it's him versus WWE. This is wild. Like, I kind of want to, I'm sticking up for Punk here for all the things that happened. And then that whole thing with Colt Cabana breaks down and he kind of looks like an asshole all over again.
Yeah.
So fast forward how many years 10 years or whatever, until he joins AEW. And you see kind of like a different version of CM Punk. He's 10 years older, 10 years wiser. He had the stint in the UFC where you kind of had to eat shit. Well, for real, losing to fighters who probably didn't really, even deserve the opportunity to fight there. And he was like quickly losing to these guys. So Mickey Gall, I just reread that Observer, not over the weekend.
Well, I mean, Mickey Gall was a real fighter, but Mike Jackson was a reporter. Like they put him in there. Okay, if you can't beat this guy.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember, I even know the person who told me. So Punk is in, it's the last dance. He has created a new connection to this AEW fan base. He's wearing T-shirts as statements, political statements for what he stands for, and people are like, "Oh, this guy, we love him. Like this isn't, this guy's a change guy. He's our guy now. He's not WWE CM Punk." And I remember getting a text from somebody who said, "By the way, I was talking to people backstage at AEW, and they said, the persona, he's great. He's going to help the company, but he's the same guy. Like nothing has changed." And I kind of stuck that one in the back of my mind. And were you at the show with me where CM Punk said, if anybody has an issue with Jack Perry, like they're the issue or whatever? Were you there?
It sounds right.
I think I have that clip on my phone.
Might have been Double or Nothing, like 22.
Yeah, well, whenever that was, and so he's hugging Jack Perry. He's got his arm around the guy, and so then you got to put that one in the back of your head as well. And then all hell breaks loose, and I get to see, because of the relationships that I have with certain people, I get to see a lot of the back and forth with Punk and him bringing his lawyer into the mix with the booking decisions and with Tony Khan. And I'm hearing from other people about how this guy is just like the hardest person to deal with and XYZ. So again, I am not a CM Punk apologist. I see him for his maneuvers. I don't know the person. I don't know Phil Brooks, the person. So I'm only specifically talking about CM Punk, the pro wrestler and the character and the media persona that he has created. I think people are dunking on the wrong person. CM Punk is a pawn in this game with WWE and Saudi Arabia. Now, I don't know any of this for sure. This is just me kind of trying to figure out the scenarios here, but I don't know if WWE was like, "Hey, like we'll put Punk and Cena together," or if Saudi Arabia was like, "Hey, we want this match." But when I started to see some of the statements by Triple H about, "Oh, look at the growth of this guy," I started to wonder if this was more about WWE's relationship with Saudi Arabia than it was about anything else. Like if you're Saudi Arabia and you go, yeah, if we can get this guy who once said some bad things about us and who is standing for these things that our culture is not really standing for yet, and we can show the public at large that he has changed his opinion on us, then that looks good for us. Or maybe this is WWE playing 4D chess and doing that in like a precursor way, knowing that they want Saudi Arabia to pay them lots of money for a WrestleMania type of event. That is my feeling on this whole situation. And I'm not saying CM Punk is like this perfect person or that he is blameless. He said the things that he said. He stands for the things that he stands for. And now he had to be a businessman and be a pawn for his company in this situation. Like it was not a great, 3 or 4 weeks for this dude. I'm sure he was fighting himself in some way in the way that he was portrayed. And John Cena, the funniest thing is John Cena is using his John Cena, the wrestling character, the heel character, using this platform to talk about CM Punk and going back on his word when John Cena also opted out of Saudi Arabia when they built a show about him going there, and he pulled out as well and then went back. So this is about WWE. This is about TKO. This is about Saudi Arabia. And Punk is just like he's just a pawn in the game. All of these guys are. All of these men and women who went on that show are just pawns in this business relationship so that one corporation can make more money and the other corporation can publicly make themselves look like baby faces to the world in a sense. And I think it's just unfortunate because it's not like you can look at it in this way. Like you can look at all the money that WWE has received from Saudi Arabia, all of the new revenue that comes in, that adds to their bottom line, that adds to their profits. And you can look and see, okay, how much have salaries escalated since then? Like just by percentage. Like it's meaningless what they have paid their talent based on this business relationship they have with Saudi Arabia is really meaningless. It's like, it's dollar. It's a dollar, for probably per million or something, right? Like it's so small.
Well, I think that their salaries probably have gone up the same percentage that their profits have gone up. It's just the gross dollars are so much more on the profit side. So, if like guys and gals like on the top end, they're making more now than they ever have before.
Sure, but it's like if
But
you were making $500,000
yeah,
5 years ago, and now you're making $1 million, your salary has gone up by 100%. But that is pennies on the dollar to how
yeah,
much money
yeah.
TKO has pocketed for the same
And
relationship.
not only that, but if you're on that list of people making $1 million, you're probably on the cut line at some point. Like because really, like the people in that mid range, like the high six, low seven, like low seven figure range, those are the people they cut. They don't cut the people on the entry level deals, and they don't cut the people making tons of money. It's those people in the middle. It's the same as regular sports.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in hockey, a $5 million player is, like they're always overpaid, and they're the first ones you get rid of. Basketball is probably the $20 million player. Like they're useless. You'd rather have like somebody on an entry level deal, or you'd rather have a max. But
Yeah.
the
There's
guys
more
in the middle,
value
Yeah.
on somebody who makes less money.
Right.
Now,
And then
but by the way, I know people are going to be like, well, what about Tony Khan? Yeah, Tony Khan,
same.
he what did he quadruple or
Yep.
whatever his TV deal? He did not quadruple his wrestling salaries at the
No, and in
same
fact,
time.
he started cutting people.
Yeah, and so who's making the majority of the money on the TV deal? It's Tony Khan. It's his company.
And again,
It
to be fair, he's also having to cover losses from the first 3 years. So,
Sure, for sure.
yeah.
So
As far as Punk, yeah.
yeah, so I'll give you the floor, but
Yeah.
again, I'm not an apologist. I'm just looking at the big picture, and I see this as Punk just being a pawn in this relationship.
I get it. And it's funny because you talk about the public persona of CM Punk, and then, so there's actually 3, because you have the on-screen character, you have the social media person who is slightly different than the on-screen character at times. And then you have the Phil Brooks, behind the scenes that isn't on Twitter. So leave that guy out of it, because I don't know that guy. Like I don't know him at all. I've had experiences dealing with CM Punk in social media, as some people, a lot of people know. And and this is when he was a babyface, and he was a total asshole to me, like publicly. And his fans rallied behind him and everything. And then like 6 months later, those same people that were rallying behind him all of a sudden all hated him
Yeah.
because of the stuff that went down with the Bucks. And then, like, I wish that old Facebook group was still around, because when he was rumored to be coming into AEW and when he first showed up, like, I would love to go back and search all the things people were saying and how much they loved him and
Yeah.
how, how great he was. And those same people now are like, I hated him. I wish they never would have signed him, blah, blah, So yeah, like CM Punk hasn't really changed. So the thing is he's always done what he needed to do to get over. So when in the early days, he just made a name for himself. Then he gets to WWE and he saw that opening for somebody that was fighting from the underground and the voice of the voiceless and all that. And he got a big following. Then he leaves, comes back. He's a conquering hero coming back to wrestling. Brought a bunch of fans back with him. You look at those ratings. In 2021, right before he came back, like, and as he was coming back, like, the ratings started when the rumors of him coming back were there, and then right through, and then at some point they started to drop off, and then he left, and a lot of those people left with him, and some of them went to WWE, some of them just left again, and now here he is in WWE. Well, now the way to get over is to say, oh, I love this company, I love these people, I love wrestling, oh, isn't it a great day to be in Green Bay? Like every day, like, he's so pandering.
Yeah.
But that's his new character, right?
Right.
So then the last 3 weeks, like, you have John Cena come out and just almost literally murdered his character on screen in that promo. Then he comes out the following week and almost kills it even worse with his own actions and words. Like, I mean, I'm looking at this guy, and when he first came out, like, I had flashbacks to Vince Russo in TNA. That's what he looked like, with the backwards baseball cap and
Remember
the
when
sports
Vince
jersey.
Russo used to wear that Barry Bonds jersey all over the
Yep.
place? I was like,
and
can you
even
not wear my guy's jersey?
And he even looked a little like him with the salt and pepper beard and everything, right? So, and then his promo was just awful. And it wasn't even so, I can put aside the look, put aside the idea of what he was doing, whether you like that or not. And there's potential in that. But the actual promo itself, like, well, and the rhyming was terrible. Like, he had no rhythm. And then I saw people say, well, it's just like when Kurt Angle did Sexy Boy. No, it's not even the same
Kurt
universe.
Angle did it for humor.
Yes.
He did it because his character was trying to make fans laugh.
And he was actually better too.
And he's better at being a goofball than CM Punk is at not being CM Punk.
Right. And that was it. And he was, and so even the lines he had, like, were just lame. Like, there were punchlines that I was thinking of in my head, and he didn't even use them. And this is me. And CM Punk is a hell of a lot better promo than I am. And, and there were things that John Cena, the old John Cena, would have said that he couldn't say in 2025. So he didn't. Like, there was one where the rhyme he used was slow-mo. I know what John Cena would have said
in 2004. Yes,
Yeah, and he can't say it now. So if you can't do it, don't do it. You know what I mean? Or, figure out a better way to do it.
I
And he
wonder
just
whose
didn't.
idea was. So I thought that that's
Mm.
where we were going. Remember when he made
Yeah.
the joke
Yep.
on that one where he's like, "Oh, the old PG John Cena." Remember he even kind of made fun of his own line because he's, "Oh, it sounded a little bit more like PG John Cena." So I was like, "Okay, we're doing something with the rapping version of John Cena." I just never expected him to make himself look like a fool. I didn't.
No.
That's the part that I didn't expect. I thought maybe we were going to get some video packages of John Cena doing old rhymes and being hypocritical and all that. But no, we got like this really bad version of whatever that was that they were trying to do. It was, and it's
Oh,
in
so I
front of the
almost think they're
wrong crowd too,
I
for the
almost think
absolute
they're
wrong
trying to
crowd to
turn
do
him
that.
heel, but if that's the objective, but then when the match happened, the fans seemed to cheer him because I guess because he said sorry to that kid. you know,
Well, so you saw the note that they thought that that was
yeah.
a plant, right? Like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I
So,
know, yeah. I
um,
guess his name was Muhammad. Like his apology sounded very similar to the one he gave me. To be honest, I was having a bad day and I said a mean thing on Twitter. Those are the exact words he said in the apology that he said to me.
yeah.
So, like whatever. It's consistent. That's why I say he's the same guy. Now, the Phil Brooks behind the scenes, I've had people who know him tell me he's an asshole, but I don't know him
Yeah, I
personally,
don't
so
know
I
him
can't
either.
say
I've never met him.
no.
Absolutely
But I
never
but I
met
know
him.
people that do, and they have an opinion. And it seems to be pretty consistent across the board.